Welcome to this space where your soul is heard and truth begins to speak. If you're hearing these words right now, it's because your heart has already felt something moving, a quiet shift, unseen but powerful, as if an unseen hand has gently touched the rhythm of your life. Don't leave. Nothing is random about finding this message. This moment, right now, the universe is sending you a signal, a whisper wrapped in silence, a message written in light. Take a deep breath, let your shoulders drop, and listen, not with your mind, but with your heart. Because what you're about to hear is not just a story, but a doorway, one that opens quietly for your soul to step through. Everything begins the very moment the universe knocks. Aries, take a deep breath and listen to the rhythm of your own heart. Not everyone gets the chance to pause in the middle of a restless world to truly hear the whisper of the universe. But you're different. If these words have found you, it means the universe has chosen this very moment to speak to you, not through thunder, but through a soft breeze, through the quiet beat of your heart that tells you something is beginning to change. Lately, something has felt strange, hasn't it? Your sleep lighter than usual, your mind filled with unshaped feelings. Sometimes the air around you even feels heavier than before. But underneath all of that, something is moving quietly, patiently, like the ground shifting before spring begins to bloom. The energy around you is rearranging itself, as if a door is slowly opening, not out there in the world, but deep inside your soul. There will come a moment when everything starts to make sense. A glance, a meeting, a sudden silence, each one a sign. The universe never knocks in a hurry. It sends small ripples, gentle waves of meaning, and only those who are awake can feel them. And now, you are one of them. Maybe you don't know exactly what's coming, but you can feel it. That strange, sacred stirring in your chest. It's the signal of truth approaching, a curtain lifting after years of fog and confusion. This isn't the storm, Aries. This is the dawn. And yes, the first light always blinds before it guides, but it will lead you back to your true path. Sometimes, before light can fill a room, the darkness thickens. Maybe that's where you are now, in the stillness that comes right before everything moves again. But believe this, every pause carries the seed of new life, and when you listen with your heart, even the smallest sound can be destiny calling your name. Now, let yourself open. Let the light slip through the cracks you once tried to hide, because it's through those very cracks that the light will stay. Every doubt, every silence, every feeling you once dismissed, they've all been leading you here, to the meeting point between fate and truth. In the days ahead, you'll see some things can no longer stay hidden. No matter how carefully truth has been buried, it always finds its way back to the light. And when that happens, you'll understand you're not being called out for judgment. You're being called home for freedom. Stay calm, keep your heart open, and your eyes bright. Because right after this very moment, when everything still feels uncertain, the first movement of truth will begin. And from that quiet place within you, a new sound will rise, soft, steady, like the approaching footsteps of justice, coming closer with every breath. Aries. There are moments in life when light doesn't come as sunlight. It comes as an awakening, a sudden jolt that shakes the ground beneath your feet. No one ever knows when it will arrive. One morning that feels perfectly ordinary, you wake up and something in the air feels different. It's as if a thin veil between truth and deception has started to tremble, as if an invisible hand is pulling it down. Somewhere deep in your subconscious, you already knew this was coming. The strange dreams, the uneasy looks, the half-truths spoken in jest, none of it was random. Someone touched your energy. They used your name, your image, your kindness for their own gain. Maybe they thought the universe wasn't watching, but it always does. And when the time is right, light begins to slip through the cracks, reaching the corners they thought would never be found. In this world, every word carries weight. Every action echoes. Those who once tried to dim your light are now being illuminated by it. They didn't realize that while they were trying to bring you down, they were engraving their own names into the story of truth. Because when light appears, it doesn't choose sides. It simply reveals quietly, evenly, completely. You don't need to chase after your reputation, Aries. You don't need to argue or defend yourself. The universe protects those who stay true. Let those who doubted you see with their own eyes, not through your explanations. When truth rises from the dark, it doesn't need justification. It shines by the gravity of its own presence. And strangely, when that moment comes, you won't feel anger. You'll feel calm, like someone who has walked through the storm, standing in the ruins but knowing the wind has finally cleared the dust. What's coming isn't destruction. It's release from misunderstanding, from projection, from the weight of other people's stories about you. What once hurt you now becomes your greatest lesson, a lesson in trust, in boundaries, in how to love yourself without losing your kindness. Light never arrives to harm. It arrives to teach the soul how to be honest again. In these days, you might sense a strange quiet in the air. It's the silence before truth unfolds. When everything is about to change, time often pauses just long enough for the universe to rearrange its pieces. The words once spoken, the smiles that hid intentions, the acts done in shadow, they're all being called back now, summoned to face the light. And you, the one who was misunderstood, are being given your voice again. Remember, this divine justice doesn't roar. It waits. It works in silence. Stand still. Observe. Keep your heart peaceful. Everything unfolding now is part of the design of light. You don't need to fight for what's right, because light doesn't take sides. It simply endures. Stay steady, glowing softly like a small lamp through the longest night, so that when dawn finally comes, the world will know it was you who never went dark. And as that light spreads, it won't just expose what's false. It will reveal something greater, a quiet power rising within you. A higher force, unseen but undeniable, is moving closer, carrying the hand of destiny itself. No one can say exactly how that moment will unfold, but when it does, you'll understand the universe was never silent. It was simply preparing for your next great illumination. There are moments when the world seems to hold its breath. Everything stands still for a few seconds, as if time itself is stepping aside, making room for something sacred to arrive. In that stillness, there's a movement, subtle but powerful, an energy you can feel not with your mind, but with your whole body. It's not a person approaching. It's the presence of something higher, the power of heaven and earth stepping into your story. And when that happens, nothing can stop it. Just as night cannot hold back the sunrise, the moment light decides to return, darkness has no choice but to retreat. What you're sensing, the shifts, the reversals, the strange coincidences, is not chaos. It's divine authority, the sacred law touching places no human hand can reach. The image of the police here is not about punishment, but about the intervention of cosmic justice. A justice that doesn't need a gavel or a declaration. It only needs truth. When the universe decides the time has come, it sends messengers, people, events, even unexpected disruptions to bring everything back into alignment. You might soon receive a message that makes your heart sink for a moment, or an invitation you didn't expect, or a meeting that feels too sudden. But remember, this isn't punishment. It's clarity calling your name. Everyone who enters your life plays a role, and now the story is reaching its turning point. Those who once tried to bend your light, who twisted your truth, will soon face the very light they tried to escape. Don't be afraid. The energy arriving is not here to hurt you, it's here to free you from burdens that were never yours to carry. Imagine this like a scene from a film. You stand in an old room. Dust covers everything. Then the window bursts open. Wind rushes in, the curtain lifts, and sunlight floods the space. You squint for a moment, but then you see everything exactly as it is. The universe always restores balance. If someone once silenced your voice, it will send a moment for you to speak. If someone hid the truth, it will arrange for you to see it without searching. If something external steps in a meeting, an inquiry, a sudden arrival, welcome it as a sign that divine law is at work, because no one escapes the light once its hour has come. As this unfolds, you'll notice the quiet ones begin to speak. Doors once closed will open. Tense relationships will be reset on the scales of truth. And you who thought you were just caught in the storm will realize you are the calm center of a sacred cleansing. Sometimes justice doesn't come with footsteps or announcements. It comes with a shift in energy. The powerful bow their heads, the dishonest face their own words, and you, who once stayed silent, are finally invited to step forward, not to prove anything, but simply to breathe in peace again. When heaven's hand moves, everything turns in ways no one expects. So don't ask, why now? Because right at this moment, as you hear these words, the clock of the universe is striking the perfect hour. Keep your heart still. No need to resist. No need to run. Just stand like a candle in the night, shining enough to see, warm enough to believe. And when you notice the first sign of this intervention, a knock at the door, a look in someone's eyes, a call you didn't expect, smile. Because it's not an ending, it's a reminder that the light has begun to speak. And in that light, you'll feel something rising inside you, a quiet strength, not from the world around you, but from the heart that has learned to stay still in the middle of the storm. That strength will lead you forward softly, calmly, into the next layer of your story, where silence becomes your weapon, and your soul begins to speak for you. Sometimes, true strength doesn't live in your voice, but in the space between two breaths. The world teaches us to react, to explain, to prove ourselves. But there comes a point in life when the universe teaches the opposite, that silence too is a language. And those who understand it have already stepped into a higher realm of awareness. You're in that moment now, Aries. Everything around you may feel loud, people talking, opinions flying, some even trying to pull you into a battle that isn't yours. But you don't have to go. You don't need to defend yourself. Imagine silence as a cloak of light. When you wear it, all dark energy slides away, unable to touch you. Silence is not weakness. It's awareness forged in pain, chosen by the one who has learned that not every war deserves a sword. You're not quiet because you're afraid. You're quiet because you know truth doesn't need to shout, it only needs to shine. And that light, Aries, is already near. There are people who can't stand silence. They fill it with noise, with words, actions, or frantic attempts to control the outcome. But your silence is different. It carries weight. It's the sound of a mind as steady as a mountain, of a soul that has learned to observe without judgment, to love without clinging, and to let go without bitterness. In that stillness, you'll start to hear more the footsteps of those truly meant to walk beside you, and the whispers of false souls revealing themselves. When you don't speak, others show who they really are. When you stop explaining, truth begins to do the work for you. And when you stand still, the universe moves. Trust that every second you remain silent, heaven and earth are working on your behalf. The forces you thought you had to fight are already colliding and dissolving into each other. The fears that once haunted you will fade like morning fog in sunlight. And in that moment, you'll realize the peace you've been holding inside is the kind of power even darkness must bow to. Silence is sacred space where every soul is revealed under the light. It's not avoidance, it's a ritual of healing. When you choose not to respond, you give your mind its freedom back. When you stop speaking into the chaos, you keep your heart whole. And when you let the wind carry away what's no longer yours, you make room for what is. Don't fear being misunderstood. Most people don't know that some conversations can only happen between the soul and the universe. And that's exactly where you are now, where truth and illusion are being separated, not by words, but by energy. Soon, this silence will bloom into something visible. Those who doubted you will see everything you did had meaning. Every scar you carry will speak of courage, and every word you never said will stand as the loudest proof of your dignity. Hold on to that peace the way one protects a small candle in the wind. It doesn't have to burn bright, it only has to stay lit, because in the end, that small, steady flame is what will light the path for justice to find you. And when the dawn of truth begins to rise, you'll finally understand why the universe asked you to be still. Only in silence can you hear the sacred approaching, a wave of divine justice touching the shores of your life, carrying one simple message: justice never needs noise. It only needs someone worthy to receive it. From that sacred quiet, something new begins, not the voice of the world, but the echo of divine protection, moving closer and closer still. There are moments when the whole world seems to pause, as if time itself is holding its breath to witness one single thing: the birth of truth. It doesn't arrive with thunder, nor does it need a declaration. It comes quietly, slowly, but with the certainty of dawn. People can hide many things in the dark, but no one can hide light forever. And that light, Aries, is coming closer than you think. Every false word spoken about you, every scheme that once wounded you, is now turning into evidence, fragments of shattered mirrors that can no longer conceal what they reflect. Strange, isn't it? What once caused you pain is now becoming the key to justice. The universe moves in ways no one can fully understand, but its silence is always precise and perfect. Divine justice doesn't need noise. It doesn't come to those who rage, it comes to those who wait. When you are silent, the universe listens. When you endure, it takes note. And when you finally let go, it begins to act. Everything that was twisted, misused, or misunderstood is now being returned to its rightful place. You may notice the smallest signs. A distant friend suddenly reaches out to apologize. Someone who once manipulated the truth finds their lies exposed. A door that had been shut opens softly without you knocking. That's not coincidence, that's balance. When energy reverses, truth finds its own way home, and justice arrives without you having to chase it. And when it does, you won't feel the triumph you once imagined. There will be no vengeance, only peace. The quiet peace of knowing that your dignity remained untouched while others fell into the mud of their own making. Heaven's justice is not like human justice. It doesn't punish through law, it redeems through truth. Sometimes, the punishment for deceit is not loss, but the moment one must finally see themselves in the clear mirror of honesty. And sometimes, the reward for integrity is not victory, but absolute serenity. You've walked through days when faith seemed impossible. But now, as the wheel of justice turns, you will see no one can steal your light, except you. The universe has waited long enough for you to understand that every pain you endured was preparing you to shine at the exact moment you were meant to. If you look back now, you'll see the miracle. Every betrayal made you wiser. Every misunderstanding taught you to listen. Every loss gave you back something deeper: faith in yourself. Justice isn't just coming to you, it's awakening within you. So let your heart soften. No bitterness, no comparison. When heaven acts, you need only be still. Because light never competes with darkness, it simply appears. And when it does, everything false will collapse like masks, melting under the heat of truth. You are standing in that very moment when truth is no longer something to hear, but something you can feel in every breath. A gentle wind will pass through, cleansing the air, sweeping away what no longer belongs. And when you open your eyes, the world will seem brighter, clearer, quieter. Divine justice is never late. It only waits until your heart is calm enough to receive it. And when that moment comes, you'll understand not everyone is meant to walk with your light. From here, your path changes. You are no longer the one on trial, but the one chosen to lead. And as you take that first breath in this new dawn, something inside you stirs your heart awakening, softly, gently, like a bell ringing at the break of your soul's morning. There comes a moment in life when we no longer see with our eyes, but with the heart. It's the moment when old wounds no longer make us want to strike back. They simply make us smile softly, because we finally understand. We understand that everything that once hurt us, everything that broke us, was really a pair of unseen hands shaping our soul, making it deeper, gentler, and wiser. You've been through more than you realize. The misunderstandings, the betrayals, the stolen trust, each one has forged you into someone who can now stand in the storm without losing faith. No one teaches resilience better than those who once caused us pain. And there is no greater lesson in kindness than learning to forgive someone who never asked for forgiveness. When the heart awakens, you begin to see not everyone who leaves deserves blame, and not everyone who stays truly belongs. Some people come to teach you love, and then leave so you can learn how to love yourself. Some people break you, only to show you the boundaries of blind devotion. And when you finally understand this, a quiet miracle happens. You stop holding on, stop trying to prove yourself, and stop asking for anything beyond peace. Your heart no longer chases the noise of the world. It starts to listen to its own whisper, the whisper of freedom, of gratitude, of love that doesn't need to possess. When you reach this awareness, the wounds of the past become light as morning mist. You don't need to forget, only to release. Because only when you let go can you truly love again, this time with your soul, not with the fear of being abandoned. The universe is freeing you from bonds that no longer match your vibration. It isn't taking anything from you. It's clearing the path ahead so you can walk lighter, freer. When loneliness visits, remember that emptiness isn't punishment, it's preparation. The universe needs open space to plant something new, and your heart, after years of carrying pain, is being renewed, ready to welcome a connection where you're seen completely without needing to say a word. Awakening doesn't arrive with applause. It comes quietly, in the nights when you sit alone, touch your sadness gently, and whisper, "Thank you." Thank you to what was incomplete, for teaching you to cherish what is simple. Thank you to the doors that closed, for helping you rebuild the home within yourself. And thank you to yourself for walking through the darkness and still choosing to be kind. When the heart awakens, you no longer want to escape the past. You turn toward it, look it in the eye, and nod a small, peaceful goodbye. And in that moment, you feel something strange and beautiful spreading in your chest, a calm warmth, like sunlight touching your skin after the rain. That's the moment when the universe tells you everything has changed. You are no longer who you were. Not harder, but deeper. Not stronger, but clearer. And from that moment on, you begin to see life through new eyes. Eyes that know gratitude, that know how to receive, and how to stop. And in that silence, you'll feel something else, small, subtle, yet powerful enough to make your heart tremble, a beam of light moving closer, carrying the scent of change. It isn't the end. It's an invitation, a quiet call from life itself, whispering to you, "Get ready, because what's coming next will change everything." Every soul has a moment when the universe decides to reignite its inner fire. For you, Aries, that moment is near. You may not see it yet, but everything that once broke apart, everything that collapsed, was never an ending. It was the shell of an old version of you, cracking open so something new could be born. Like a forest after the fire, it looks destroyed, but beneath the ashes, life is already stirring again. You've walked through the winter of your soul, and now the first warmth is returning. Everything that once felt delayed, everything that made you question yourself, is beginning to move. The current of life that once seemed still is now rushing back with force. Opportunities you thought were lost are quietly finding their way home, not because of luck, but because you are ready. Your flame never went out. It only rested, waiting for divine timing. The universe never reveals true light until the soul is mature enough to hold it. Every challenge, every fall, every loss was heaven's way of teaching you that light doesn't come from victory, it comes from deep understanding. When you look back, you'll see nothing was wasted. The people who left, the doors that closed, even the moments when you thought everything was over were all part of a larger design. The universe never denied you. It was simply arranging the stage, waiting for the room to quiet, for the spotlight to fall on you. Remember this, your light was never meant to dazzle, it was meant to heal. It's the kind of light that comes from within the quiet glow of someone who has walked through the night and still knows how to smile at dawn. People like that don't need to speak loudly. Their presence alone warms the air. And now, as you feel new energy rising within you, trust it. Don't resist. Don't fear the changes. What's falling apart isn't punishment, it's release. The old must fall away for the new to emerge. You are no longer who you once were. You are being reborn stronger, clearer, closer to your true calling than ever before. From this day on, let your heart be the compass. When you feel inspired, act. When you feel calm, listen. And when fear creeps in, remember, fire never fears the dark because it is the light. Every step you take now, no matter how small, is a step made by someone chosen. In your work, doors will begin to open. Those who once turned away will look for you again. In your finances, the current of prosperity is shifting toward you slowly, steadily. In your spirit, a new confidence is rising not from ego, but from knowing who you are and why you are here. The Aries flame after years of quiet is awakening. It doesn't burn to destroy. It burns to warm the world. That is your mission, to bring light, faith, and inspiration to places that have forgotten their own glow. And when you stand at that sacred point between the ashes of the past and the green shoots of the present, you'll see it clearly. Everything that once made you fall was never a failure, but a ritual of rebirth. There is nothing left to fear, nothing left to prove. You are returning not as the fragile flame you once were, but as the steady light of a soul refined by fire. And in that light, something new is unfolding inside you, a quiet strength, gentle yet powerful, as if another door is opening ahead. From behind it, a soft breeze begins to blow, carrying the scent of gratitude, the whisper of blessing, and an invitation to step forward into the final chapter of your journey, where truth itself becomes the guiding light. There comes a moment, somewhere in the long nights when everything feels endless, when you suddenly realize every hurt, every tear, every fall was never meant to destroy you. They were the very stones that built the road leading you to this moment. Each loss, each silence, each collapse has carried within it a seed of light. The universe never wounds a soul to make it break. It only teaches you to look deeper into your own heart, into what once seemed shattered, so you can find the hidden treasure inside it. Truth, when it arrives, is rarely gentle. It comes like a sharp beam, cutting through the veil, blinding everything around you for a brief moment. But when your eyes adjust to the light, you see it never came to judge. It came to free you. What you thought was life's interrogation was actually the quiet hand of divine justice, a cleansing, soft, precise, and sacred. What was once hidden in darkness is now finding its own way into the light. Every lie that surrounded you is dissolving on its own, and in the silence, heaven speaks. You don't need to argue, you don't need to prove, you don't need to rush to defend yourself. Just trust the current justice always arrives, right on time. Aries, let your heart rest. Don't look back with bitterness. Look back with gratitude. Because without those breaks, you would never have learned how to stand again, calm, strong, and wiser than before. In your weakest moments, you became your strongest self. In the moments you lost everything, you learned to believe in the unseen, to trust that everything, even pain, had meaning. This is the time when truth is no longer something to fear. It's the gift that lets you breathe lighter. Be thankful even for those who hurt you, because they taught you the worth of honesty, of compassion, of inner light. Be thankful for the days you felt lost, because they guided you back to your true path. And most of all, be thankful for yourself for not giving up when you were tired, for still believing in goodness when the world made you doubt it. An old chapter is closing. And when the dust settles, you'll see that none of it was punishment, it was protection. Heaven's law is always fair. It just takes patience to see how perfectly it all unfolds. A great truth is being revealed, and with it comes the freedom you've been waiting for. Now, take a deep breath. Feel it. The air around you is different now. Lighter, wider, brighter. Because in truth, no fear can hold you anymore. You are free not just from others, but from the limits you once set upon yourself. As you move forward, carry gratitude with you. Gratitude for life, for teaching you in its own mysterious way. Gratitude for the universe for protecting you even when you didn't know it. And gratitude for your own heart for choosing love again, even after it was broken. If you are hearing these words, I want you to know you are not alone. You've already walked through the hardest part. What comes next is only light, only peace, only the miracles waiting to bloom in your life. Thank you for your courage to listen, for allowing yourself to heal, for still believing, even when the world made faith feel uncertain. And I pray that you, the keeper of the Aries flame, will continue to walk with a heart that shines and a soul that is free. Wherever you are, remember this: when you trust, the miracle begins.